y'all. Welcome to Heart of the Podcast with MSTC. I'm Mel.
I'm George.
No, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
We are recording this right on the day of the February 2023 ban list. Does any of you want to start with their thoughts on the ban list?
I say let Nick take over on this one.
Sure, let's start with Nick.
Yeah.
Before we go there, I
We're
want to
already
wish
there.
you guys a happy anniversary. So,
Oh yeah,
Joseph pointed out yesterday that
Me and Mel.
yesterday was our 1-year anniversary. So happy anniversary, guys!
True.
Happy
Yeah,
anniversary.
Joseph, insert some sounds in here and stuff.
Yeah, that was good. No, leave that part in though. Don't cut that part out.
Yeah, make sure you leave it in. Just leave it in.
What part?
Okay.
Mm.
What was
It's
I gonna
already
say?
gone.
So, thoughts on the ban list. Can you? I can't express. Well, actually, I have two parts. So, part one is can we just acknowledge for a second? Adam Emancipator got hit again tangentially.
Oh my god.
What was
No,
it
it's
hit?
fine. This Sprite Elf was a fundamental part of the combo, actually.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and that's okay. But the rest, man, what a good day. I was teaching when this was happening, so I didn't get to look at the list until after. And just the biggest, dopiest smile, just such joy. No tears here, no tearful lamentations. I was very excited.
Or
Everything. But if you
Okay.
want, I mean, for details, I enjoyed I thought all of the hits from bans to limits were appropriate and good. And the only thing that gives me pause is the release of Destrudo. Everything else is pretty much no problem in my opinion. I am very happy.
I guess I was hoping that you would explain what you actually were talking about. So I guess we'll go over the ban list for those that haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't want to I wanted to maybe save it. I guess maybe reactions now or
No.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have 4 bands: Scythe, Barrier Statue, Kit Kalos, and Elf. We have 9 limits.
Mhm.
7 limits.
Yeah,
We
7.
have the 4 Ishizu monsters, the updated ones, and then 3 tier names: Havnus, Merly, and Sharon. 1 return with Ancient Fairy Dragon, but that's with the new errata, which I think Joseph was mentioning a couple episodes ago. That it'll be interesting for that. And then we had 7 cards released: Destrudo, Jet Synchron, Olion, Servanim Endymion, Lithos Agim, Yada, and Resort. What do we think? What are we thinking about? What are we thinking? What are some of the big wins, big losses that we're noticing?
I'd say the biggest win would probably be the Barry statue. Yes, because Kashtira was gonna abuse that too.
Yeah,
So that would have been horrendous.
I agree with you.
And tier limits as well. Just they got hit with the Kit Kalos. I think Kit Kalos getting hit alongside with everything to 1 makes it very, very fair. Because now you actually rely on good deck building as opposed to just slamming every card with Tyrannid's name in a deck and then just, winning. Now you have to actually deck build.
Yeah,
Interesting.
for sure.
I was seeing a couple perspectives that were like the OCG banned. I think it started with limiting Kikalos and semi-limiting a couple names, and the TCG kind of learned that that actually did nothing. The deck still was dominant and still dominant over there. I think we actually have more.
Yeah,
Do
it's
we
still
have more
very,
limits
very
than they
dominant.
do?
We do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. So I think I'm curious how tier looks, because just based on the amount, that's like 12 or 13 cards gone from your deck. And now it's a matter of what you're going to replace it with potentially some of the Kashtira stuff. I think, Joe, you were mentioning the field spell is still at 3.
Yeah.
And that means that you have the ability to search, I think, any one of your names to get them in your hand to play. But
Yeah.
I'm curious what that looks like on in actual action, because Nick, you had mentioned this a while ago, but part of the issue with tiers is that it's hard to figure out how to stop math. And now they've kind of figured out how to do it. They just are you have less things that you can hit.
Well, I just wanna say that they still kept us with or at least in this new set, there's a trap card. I think it almost looks like a Kashtira trap card. But it says that if you banish it, you can get a card that says, what's the new
Visas.
visas?
Or
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
yeah. You can get one card that mentions it, and the Tear Limit field spell says that.
Yep.
And with Foolish Burial Goods, you now have um access to it. Plus, you have terraforming, so that's 6 copies of any name still,
Mhm.
and that's just like that's still crazy because you still have many names
Yeah,
with the
it's
field
just
spell.
I think the difference is that it's you have to be more purposeful and careful with the way you construct your plays. You can't just be like, it doesn't really matter what I do. I can extend through anything, and then I'm gonna mill the cards that I need because that's how the ratios work out.
But you
You have
also
to be
lost your
like,
biggest bridge.
yeah,
Kit Kalos did bridge a lot of the
Yeah.
fusions. So like you
yeah,
could go Kit Kalos into Predaplant Verte,
Yep.
not Verte, just the Predaplant card.
Mhm.
Or you could do the Kit Kalos into the Garura or and stuff. But now like 2 tier limit names, um, will probably just end you on the Garura. Like what do you do with 2 tier limit names?
yeah. Well,
You don't really do anything.
it's better. I mean, I think that purposeful deck building that doesn't just rely on like you said before, slamming a bunch of cards together because
Yeah,
you have all
exactly.
the names. It's a lot better. And you know what the funny thing is, I don't think that a lot of people were being a little extreme in saying like, yeah, no one's gonna play tier now. That's not true.
No.
I am pretty sure the deck will still be around. It might be tier one or tier two. It's definitely not going to be rogue. I think it'll still be pretty fine. It'll just be like not uh infuriating to play against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point, Nick, where I think limiting the cards that needed to be limited were limited, the with the Shizu stuff. I think that Havness should have been banned. I think that it's too good of a card. And I also think that the field spell, I've said this before, I think it should have been bought to one. I think that um it's I don't think that this ban list is enough to completely stop. I mean, it's definitely knocking down tiers from tier 0 to tier 1 or 1.5. It's not tiers is not going rogue. It's not even going to tier 2. It's too good of a deck. You know what I mean? Um
It's kind of the whole point.
personally, personally, I'm upset that the barrier statues got hit, but
Good.
I mean,
I can hear it in your voice.
yeah. It's because Cashier was gonna it was gonna abuse that card. Same thing with like with which is why I hate like Sky Strikers. They got my Mystic Mind band, but nobody
Thank
else
God.
agrees with me. But whatever.
Right.
Sprite Elf. I'm glad I didn't buy that card. It was a very good generic card, and I mean I can see why it got banned. Scythe, I think it was like
It
4
was,
ban lists too late.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
far too late. Yeah.
1 year too late. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
it's
glad it's gone, you know.
yeah, but it was like no, I wasn't worried about it anymore. And then like the unlimited list, the Strudo come into 3, Jet
Strudo's a problem.
Synchron, yeah, Jet Synchron, Mecha Phantom Beast, Stole Lion. It's that those 3 cards are just gonna like. I'm excited to see what the rogue how many rogue decks are gonna just like come out and actually be top contenders. I mean, I'm not worried about pendulums. Pendulums are fucking dumb. I honestly wish Konami would just do away with them. Just
I
completely
mean,
just
pendulums
end.
are not even gonna do anything.
Yeah,
Just
that's
the
what I'm
fact
saying. Like
Kashtira is out right now.
it's such a stupid summoning mechanic. Um
So is normal summoning.
Just music to my ears. I love you, George. I
yeah,
agree.
Yada coming to
However,
3 is nuts. Like this is like Yugi Boomer me like creaming myself because Gyara Garasu was like the card. Now it's at 3. I mean, it won't do anything, but
Yeah.
it's very cool to see at 3.
what's
It's
Pyros,
one really
whatever.
good takeaway from everything that George is saying. So people are gonna think that tier elements are not gonna be played as much, and then we're gonna see the rise of Kashtira and potentially still Thunderies, just because it's still a good deck.
Yeah.
It's not gone, but we're gonna see less Bistals, and with less Bistals, that means other cards, other decks that play lights and darks can play.
Yeah.
And so with that, Sky Striker's coming back.
So
Absolutely.
I actually have so many things based on what you said, Joe. So one of them was I'm in the Fluanderies Discord, and you might think like, oh, everyone was probably upset, but no, actually, most people were kind of like, I think the deck is actually it now has to be interesting because like Statue Lock M Pen was strong but very boring. So now, right, there's a bunch of other things that you could do, and it's a lot more interesting to play. But in my opinion, just the sheer level of consistency with that deck, it's definitely still going to be around. I don't think that you should count it out. Um, the other thing that I wanted to touch on, based on what you said, was the Bestials seeing less play. I think that's overall good because there's a lot of really interesting decks out there that people should experiment with. So me, for example, I was thinking today, like, what am I going to play going into the next format? Because I don't know if I want to spend all the money on Kashtira. But yeah, it's really going to be either between Flu or Striker. I think Striker can be a pretty powerful contender now that you don't have to worry about your Ray or your Rose being banished.
Or
Um,
shuffled back.
or shuffled back, and plus it's getting a bunch of support. So I think Striker is definitely going to be a thing. I can see Sword Soul being very powerful, um, and I like those. I like that. I like
I mean,
that you have like a couple old things coming back.
the big issue with Striker, that I was seeing, which I'm looking into it, it doesn't have a good Kashtira matchup because
No,
Shangri-La protects
yeah,
itself
it's a bad
and you just
matchup.
banishes your stuff. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard.
Um,
Also, but you have to keep in mind that Kashtira costs a fuck ton of money.
too
You know what
much.
I mean?
Too
It's
much.
it's a very expensive deck to play. It's like all like the good cards are. I don't even think that tiers were this expensive
No,
on
not at
release.
all. No, okay,
So
because everything got well distributed between like
I agree.
secrets.
I
People
agree.
I actually have a lot of feelings about. I have a theory about how Cash will go, but I'll save it for a little later. Um, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think like so. I think that like Cash tier is getting like it's getting the tier elements treatment by Konami, where it's like they want you to play Cash tier, they want you to buy Photon Hypernova, they want you to just go out and spend that money on these cards. And I honestly don't see Cash tier go. I mean, unless it just tanks like unbelievably bad, I don't think that deck is going anywhere anytime soon. Um, because
Well,
again, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, yes, like the locking out, mechanism that the deck is, I guess, known for is oppressive. But I mean, they're very vulnerable to hand traps, and then they really don't set up any negates when they establish a board. So, I mean, I don't
yeah.
know.
As someone who played it a little with all the new stuff, like just haven't played a couple of matches, the feeling I get is this. So it is undeniably very strong, but it is also in the same way very fragile because it doesn't end on anything that stops Nibiru. And there's a couple of other cards that can really give it a hard time. Like Lancia. So there's a couple of cards that just really make it not that good, and if people are expecting it, they'll just play those things. So I actually am of the opinion that Kashtira is going to start out really expensive because, frankly, I think it's extremely overhyped. And while it will be very strong, I don't think it will be dominant. I really don't because it just so clearly like loses to so many things. Clearly, like it just loses to Nibiru really hard. And like a bunch of you said, it doesn't have any negates. It has cards that can interrupt your opponent, but not in the same chain. And that that difference, that fact that it's a little slower, makes it fair. But it also makes it like very susceptible to things. So I think that it's really powerful, but not everyone's saying it's going to be like cracked out. I really don't think it will be. I really don't think it will be.
you think about it, Kashtira is a uh, powered down version of tier elements, right? Because they mill tier elements mill from the deck. Kashtira banishes from the deck, and I think that little nuance definitely changes the tone of like how good Kashtira can be. It's definitely going to be very impressive, especially Arise Heart. It's a very strong card.
Yeah.
But I think when I'm looking at this list, I mentioned it while George was talking. I think Destrudo is a big mistake. That card, playing with that card, that thing is a free it's a free body, it's a free tuner, and Destrudo the Lost Dragon's Frozen. It's the it can summon itself from hand or grave by paying half life points and lowering a monster's level by or lowering its level by a monster you target, and it's a tuner. And you put it shuffle it back into and it goes on the bottom of the deck when it goes to the graveyard. So it
Yeah.
just keeps recurring itself. I think that card's going to be a problem because it's going to enable lots of synchro plays again. I'm not so concerned about Jet and Olion as long as Hulk and Auroradon are still banned.
Mhm.
Although I think it's funny that Sprite Elf turned into Hulk for a lot of decks,
Yep.
and it's getting the same treatment.
Yeah.
Um,
Well. Yeah.
I think the tier stuff it was correct. I think that
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think it's hard to justify Paralino being limited or banned while Map is still limited or banned.
Yeah.
Map is still unlimited because they're field spells that are just as strong as each other. Um, I'm happy with Barrier Statue because I think, like you both were saying, it makes Floowandereeze players have to play a little bit differently. But it also means that a normal summon while map is up does not end the game. Because I think that's ultimately why Konami hit it. It felt like every Floowandereeze matchup was, do they have Barrier Statue and map up? And you don't have a way to get rid of one or the other without normal summoning. You're not like you're just gonna scoop
Yeah.
because there's nothing you can do unless you happen to be playing a wind deck that can special summon.
Yep. For sure.
Yada is a
Virtual
fun.
World.
I think Yada's really funny. Yeah, virtual world. Yada's a funny one. It makes sense. But like we do with all the other lists, I'm looking at what didn't come back. I am still stunned that Colossus and Harp are still banned. I am very surprised that they're both
Gazelle.
gone. Gazelle is Gazelle is bizarre. Like give Salamangreat back all of its stuff. It does not give it all the stuff back.
I mean,
Yeah.
also,
At this point, give Zodiac Trident back. Like
Mm,
True.
no, I don't think
like
so.
give
I
them
disagree with
Trident
you.
back.
I
Give
and heavy
disagree with
metal
you.
Trident at
foe.
one. It's
Heavy
a
metal
pop.
foe.
No, not
No,
Electricate.
I don't
Come
like.
on.
I don't. Dryden is very frustrating to play against. I don't agree
No,
with that.
you get to
Single
pop one
pop.
monster. It's a single pop. Quick
I don't
fire.
know.
You impermit and then you're done.
I don't know. You can make that argument about any monster. I think
You
Dryden should stay on the ban list
Paralino is
forever.
Paralino's the same thing, and it's at 3.
I don't know. I don't like Dryden. I never liked Dryden though. I don't really actually like any of the Zodiacs, to be quite honest with you.
I think that they're
Actually,
that would
since
be
we're
fun.
here, I'm actually a little unclear why. Honestly, Konami should have banned all the barrier statues. To be frank, I know that the Stormwinds one was the only one that was a problem, but they're all stupid. All of them are stupid. Just
I
get rid of
agree.
all of them. I don't really understand why they were ever created.
That's
To
just a
be,
cool gimmick.
It
um,
was a simpler time.
yeah, it really was. And then just to add to what you said, Mel, I totally agree with Destrudo. Reminds me a lot of Snow, and
Yes.
Snow is a menace in Master Duel. So I don't think it's a good idea, but I guess we'll see. They're
Recital
trying.
Starling should have come back to 3.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. Actually, I think what they're trying to do clearly with the unlimits is they clearly thought, and I understand this actually. They clearly thought that banning Hulk was going to sort of make it that like no synchro deck really saw meta play, and they didn't like that because it's a pretty fundamental mechanic. So they were like, "Listen, we want you to synchro, right? We want this to be in the game." And I get that. Um, I get that and I like that, but the quandary still exists where like nothing really replaces Halka 5 Rex.
Right.
Not really, but it can't come back. It was not acceptable. So,
Um,
I don't
Well,
know.
I feel like the Strudo, as much as it enables, it also comes with the giant risk of paying half your life points. So you really can't just, the Strudo whenever you feel like,
Life
especially on
points
game
don't matter,
three.
bro.
On game three. Um, and it's also a once per turn. So you wouldn't really want to put 3 Destrudos in your deck, depending
well,
on
not yet.
what deck you're playing.
Now you don't have to waste your search, and I'm actually more concerned about it for Dragon Link.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was thinking too, Dragon Link.
Yeah.
Dragon Link is
Um,
just the deck that never dies, man.
I'm surprised that with Barrier Statue banned, Simorgh didn't come back. And I know you, Nick, were calling for this. Meowmoo is not coming off.
I really wanted it to. Actually,
Not going to.
I think it's even more reasonable that it comes off, given that without Elf, you literally can't play out Emancipator. So like, I think that prank kids were fine. I didn't really see a problem with them. And now that I actually would like to see them in the meta, to be honest with you, but they can't play without Meowmoo. So It is what it is.
Link ones are bad for the game.
It's so funny that I was going through some of like the Instagram comments and people were like, Sprite Elf didn't deserve to be hit. It's also kind of rude to those invested in these decks.
Oh
And
my god.
somebody replied with first time here.
I love
Yeah.
that meme.
Oh
Um,
man,
I-
Konami doesn't care. They don't care.
no.
It's part of the reasons why like I'm afraid to invest in a meta heavy deck after like Bird Up got hit and I bought Forbidden Droplets just for that deck because I was like I'm not buying these cards. I don't need them, and then I needed them. Then I bought them, and Konami said, "Oh, Jordan's having fun. Can't have that.
Yeah.
There
I
was
mean, that's
actually
have that."
yeah. Yeah.
there was
yeah.
actually another really good point that was brought up by I think it was House of Champs. That with them hitting this many tournament cards and Sprite Elf, we're not gonna have reprints, or at least in the
No,
sense of
yeah.
how we used to, because they're definitely not gonna be cashing in on these cards anymore.
No.
Like, there's not gonna be any, cashing in of the tournament stuff, or on the Sprite stuff. So it's
You're
it's gonna be
totally right.
interesting what they're gonna have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes back to like we don't even know what kind of reprint set we're gonna have this year. Like the Megatins, the tablets complete. Like I'm not saying that we won't have Megatins, but I don't think it's gonna be like what we've had since like 2019.
It'd be cool
Yeah.
to have a box that resembles a Millennium item, like go through that instead.
I think they're gonna go for they'll go for something with 5Ds. Or maybe no, I'll actually go with
Yeah,
GX probably.
yeah.
They give you a bike.
I mean, so like the thing is like if I'm thinking about it now, I really don't have any idea what the meta is going to look like. It's really a toss up because there's a couple of things I can think of that will clearly be strong, but it's a matter of if people really like mess around with them, you know? Like I don't know. I feel certain. I have this gut feeling that Cashier is really not going to be as good as people think. I think the thing everybody feared was locking 10 zones, and I'm just here to report to you that I don't really care what YouTube combo you saw. To do that, you have to draw like a 1 out of every 10 hands hand, and you have to play it right. So it's not like your opponent's going to lock 10 zones on you every game. It really like has to be perfect. So it's not a thing that happens every game at all. So I have a suspicion that Kashtir is going to kind of fall off pretty sharply because I really think it's going to just lose so hard to certain hand traps that I don't know. I don't really I am unsure that it will be as strong as everyone's saying.
I think it'll definitely be super strong, but like you're saying, not like insanely strong. It's not gonna be tier limit strong.
No. Oh, and
Uh,
we're actually neglecting to mention that branded Despia is unhit and will definitely be around.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just got support.
Yep.
Yeah,
It'll
but it's on
definitely be
it's
around.
on the last support that it's getting. I
Yeah,
think that
which
they're
is still
getting
good. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's but I
Yeah.
think the argument is like that it's the one that they want, like it's the lore one.
Mm-hmm.
Like once the last World Legacy card that was printed was either Eternity Code or Dual Overload, one of the two, and they haven't been like once they stop, it's pretty much like you get a year one after that, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
I would be surprised if we saw any Despia stuff moving forward.
Right.
I think we're done. But it's a strong deck, man, you know.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty solid.
We're also probably done. I mean, by the same token, we're pretty much done with Sword Soul support at this point too.
I'll say
Or
that.
at least named Sword Soul support.
Well,
Like
no, we still have one more. There's the spell card.
Yeah.
It's coming in the cyber storm,
yeah,
Yeah.
but then that'll probably be the last
That
of
it
it.
has no Cyberus in it.
and then it continues to
You
we
damn
get
right.
one every set.
I think that there's a this is more speculative, but as the year goes on, there's a non-zero chance that Flu gets another card or two.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah. Mhm.
now that there's no statue floodgate, it's a lot more reasonable to give them another type of card.
yeah.
And
Your opponent
that's
can't summon
yeah.
anything but winged beasts.
LOL.
And then I could see eventually there's a bunch of stuff on the horizon. There's new Dino cards. The Mana Dome stuff is eventually coming out. I mean, a lot of stuff is coming, but
Yeah.
oh, and we're actually also forgetting. I'm pretty sure Labyrinth will be pretty strong.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Yeah,
actually
because
one of the things
yeah,
I'm gonna be playing a lot of.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
mean
Yeah.
it is unhit and it's pretty good to begin with.
What's to
Mhm.
hit?
There's no, I mean it doesn't need to. It doesn't need. No. I'm not saying it needs to be hit at all. It's actually fine. I'm just saying like it's pretty good and
Yeah.
it has a full deck of supports and it just got more stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Eldritch who?
shut up.
Poor
I think
Eldritch.
I
Poor
think that like this coming format is going to be really good. I think that because we don't know like how or where like the meta is, I think that a lot of I think for the next couple of weeks, which is I realized that I don't know why I thought we were still in January, but I was like, oh, February 13th, we still have like a month, but it's like just a few days. Um, I think for the very beginning, I think it's gonna be very cool to see like what decks come out the woodwork. I think that because like I've also saw like in the Math Mech Facebook group that because Bistials might go away for a little while, like bringing them back might be pretty cool.
And the Hishizu.
Yeah, and then the Ishizu stuff is also gone. Like we don't have to really. I think it's gonna be a good time to play Yu-Gi-Oh for the next couple of weeks anyway, until the meta is defined and freaking tier element Cash tier takes over.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
don't disagree.
Yeah.
Any hidden potentials that we see? I know we listed off a bunch of things that we think are going to be that we think might be good. Anything that like we think might be floating under the radar?
Mm,
Morphtronics.
Oh my God,
No, I don't.
Telecon
I don't.
FTK.
I don't think so. Striker potentially. Joe mentioned Striker before.
yeah. And I'm hoping we get a little bit more support in the
I
future.
hope not.
Yeah, well,
There's a lot. Well, it's all bad. Just you
Yeah.
guys always say
We
we
need
hope
more.
not all. Literally all of it is bad except
Yeah.
maybe Azalea.
We need a card that links off spells.
Shut up.
Oh
play
yeah.
Evil Eye.
I actually thought about it for a time, to be honest with you.
What about
Other
you, Mel? What do you think will be a hidden one?
Hidden potential. I think. So I think you brought this up, Joseph, a while ago, and I'm curious if it actually happens. But we've been under tier for actually shorter than the OCG, but all of these decks got a lot of support,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Like
was like nobody wanted to
six or
play them.
seven, 6 or 7 sets.
6 or
Yep.
7 sets we've been under tier, and so there's been multiple structure decks, and now that tier is gone, the people will be playing those decks. So like Dark World got some support, Plunder got some support. Runic is now Runic is now another thing that could be
Yeah,
coming up.
that's true.
I'm curious. I have a feeling Sprite will actually fall out way more than Tier will, because Elf was like
absolutely.
their big like card.
Which is insane.
I
It's
know. And then
you know what's yeah. Sorry, go on.
no, it's I'm very I don't think there's any one deck that I'm thinking that I'm like thinking of, but I think a lot about what you said, Joseph, about like there are a lot of decks that people have been playing with their friends casually, and now is the time. Like it reminds me a lot of the OCG format where Tier is still the dominant deck, but they had like I was watching Jesse Cotton's one of his like
Rarely.
OCG thing. Yeah. So Pirelli's not going to do anything until they get Lily and Sleeping Memory.
Yeah.
But they have so many decks that people are playing because nobody knows how, like they don't know what to do. They're testing a whole bunch of stuff out. So I think there's going to be a large representation of decks, particularly I think Vegas is the first one that this ban list goes in effect.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's
actually,
It's
I think
before that.
there's one. There's one tournament one big event that we're still before the ban list, and then there's gonna be the one following that that's gonna be under the ban list. So
Yeah.
we're actually gonna have a full power tier limit ban list.
Yeah, the 3v3 in Vegas is full power.
Yeah.
Full power tier limit, yep.
That's
Which
insane.
is with tier limit Kashtira, which is gonna
Yeah.
be insane.
It will probably make a lot of people upset.
I can see that.
I like the whole. I mean, like I still think it's very who mills what, but like I didn't start to like the mirror match. It was very it wasn't like a stomp fest, as I would say. You would actually like think with your opponent, like both of you
Yeah.
would go back and forth, like an actual game of Yu-Gi-Oh. But like if you're facing something that's not tier limit, then you're just playing for both turns. But if you're playing the mirror, both of you are playing.
I mean, if Konami could find a way to balance that, because that was the
They
good
did. They
part
hit
about it.
everything.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it doesn't like what they should really do is like get rid of a bunch of the stupid bullshit floodgates that exist in the game so that that doesn't happen where you're just kind
Yeah.
of like staring at each other, but they'll never do that.
I mean,
Um
they need to just destroy. So if in a perfect world they would just ban. What is it? There can only be one goes
all
in
of them.
match
Yeah, all of them.
rivalry. Yeah.
Get rid of all
They
of them in
can't.
my opinion.
I'm waiting. I
Like
was waiting for
trap
George
decks
to say
can
something.
trap decks can't compete if they get rid of it.
I'm
Then
not gonna.
they need to come up with better designs for traps would be my response to that.
Yeah.
I think I would disagree. I think it's fine. I think that draw the out, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean
there
that's
there you
fair.
have it. Yep.
One other deck that's under the radar, I think that I really did strongly consider buying, Naturia. Naturia's good now, man. It
No.
has a lot of stuff. All
No.
those new
Yeah.
cards.
Not with the Ishizu stuff gone.
No, it can still use the
It,
issues and
it,
stuff.
it could do stuff.
It's not as strong as it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. But if you figure like everybody took that hit, maybe it's still a thing that can be done.
Yeah.
What
That's
I
all
mean
yeah,
is
yeah.
the Naturia hit for Ishizu was stronger than Rogue decks being able to come up. Like I think
Yeah.
Ishizu Naturia or Naturia cannot compete without the Ishizu stuff, and now that the Ishizu stuff is limited severely, the Rogue decks are coming out are too are
Mm.
like not they're too big for them. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, actually you might be right.
So
Like yeah.
I also do think the biggest shift is going to be in hand traps as opposed to
Yes.
like in deck. Like yeah, we'll have a lot of different decks, but we're finally gonna. I think we're gonna steer away from shifter, which
Yep.
has been a
Shifter might
main deck
die.
staple.
Well,
Because
the decks that can play it are going to keep playing it.
well, I don't see why Kashira would play shifter in a environment where they like instead of having a redundant microcosmo already set in
Hmm.
place,
Yep.
they would
Yep.
they
You're
would
right.
just choose to opt out to like run an extender or just a different type of interruption.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it might feel better to run like instead of shifter to run a more pertinent hand trap that
because
could potentially stop your opponent.
if Flow Under is going to be still prevalent just as much as with Kashira around, if the two decks are going to be strong, why would Flow Under shifter Kashira?
Yeah, or if you're
Yeah. Yeah.
planning on doing yeah, or if you're planning on the mirror match and you do
Yeah,
like oh shifter and they go out, I don't care.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a non-zero chance people start playing more power spells and hand traps for sure. Power spells specifically to deal with
Well, Ash is
Shangri-La.
Ash is coming back because of
Oh yeah.
Ash is
trusting.
coming back. Nibiru's coming back.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
And a lot
Um,
and any of those cards that take control of an opponent's monster just to deal with Shangri-Ira for
yeah.
sure.
yeah.
100%.
Salamangrate's
Or
coming
a
back.
Rise Heart.
Or a Rise Heart. But it's actually better to take the machine because or the space laser rather, I'm sorry, because it's more it could all of the cards that pop stuff or proc effects require Shangri-Ira to activate. So that's the
Renget
thing you
back
would
to the
take.
main.
Yeah.
Regeki back
Honestly,
in. Actually, Dark Hole is better.
Yeah,
Dark Hole is better in case your opponent plays Mushroom Man or Ibli. Yep.
Hmm.
yeah. But the Kashira can protect itself. The Shangri-La.
Yeah, but if all your shit gets destroyed and that's all you have left, you know, your opponent's probably okay. Or
Pour
I
one
think
out.
anyway.
Pour one
Yeah.
out for Godarla, who we'll never see play again.
Oh, poor Godarla. It's
Back to
okay. We'll
back to Gameciel.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I actually feel comfortable now potentially playing heroes again because all of my good heroes won't be stomped into the dust by the Bystials. Like it
Mhm.
is actually possible to play that deck now because uh that that was the problem is that your opponent Bystial is like a dark hero you really need and you're like, oh okay, I lose.
Just
But
crying.
now you could yeah, then you just cry. But now I could potentially play heroes again and not feel like I'm handicapping myself. It's actually kind of nice, to be honest with you.
It's good. I'm glad. So think now that we have this new format, where do we think the tournament scene is going to go? Where do we think that people are like? What do we think people are going to start bringing or start like? What do we think is going to start happening to the tournament scene?
Hmm. Well, it definitely doesn't start with deodorant.
Nice.
No, no, it doesn't.
Not
I
unless not
do.
unless Brandon provides a
Oh
stick
yeah.
order with every deck box.
The
With
gem
every
tech, yeah,
senpai deck box in
the
particular.
yeah, like well, if you buy a senpai deck box, you get 2 sticks.
I do think that there's gonna be there's some interesting cards that are not haven't seen like good amount of attention just yet. like the made to order card. I think that's gonna be a good card.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
I think the Mikanko is actually very splashable and can be played in every single deck,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of crazy. You can play it literally in every single deck. It's just a snatch steal and a
Mm-hmm.
body and a reflection damage.
Mhm.
Made to
Possibly.
order mermaid outfitter.
I think
Mhm.
I think that's a little. It's possible, but it's also very specific.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
the first
it's
time
an
I'm reading this
It
card.
it's
Target
good for
one
hand
card.
traps. Good for
It
hand
Yeah.
tra-
is. It is. It
or
is.
and
like
the mirror.
board breakers. Yeah, or mirrors. Board
No,
breakers, mirrors. You get whatever you want.
you're totally right. I think that it's why. Let me phrase it to you this way: why play that when you could play triple tactics thrust, which is I know only spells and traps, but like thrust is
Because
so good.
we're shying away from Bistals, so you
Mhm.
won't get the immediate effect from a card.
Yeah.
So if they
Yeah.
don't have a body, you're gonna have to wait a whole turn to even get access to that. So when they interrupt you and you thrust them, for the turn you won't activate that card. So you're already down 2 cards. Like
Never
yeah,
not
you
laugh
you
at that phrase.
huh?
When you
I'll never
thrust
not
them.
laugh at that phrase when you thrust them.
Yeah, when they thrust you, when you thrust them,
Oh, I think
yeah.
also Book of Eclipse will be very prominent.
Yes, I agree. But
I
now,
have
now with every single deck, I think if you can't get rid of their board before they flip everything up, that's gonna game on whoever
yeah.
flipped the Eclipse. You
Yeah.
give them +10 cards, like
Yeah, no, it could definitely backfire, but I could
yeah.
see people playing it, or I've heard whisperings of people playing it.
Mel, that is gonna be funny when you speak to your friends. You're like, what happened? He thrusted me.
Yep.
Like I had nothing.
He thrusted me. There was nothing I could do. I didn't know what was
Um,
happening.
Trusted me.
I know that Sorcerer will be a thing that I'm gonna be looking forward to playing as well.
Yeah,
The
Sword Soul's
return of
been
it.
fun. Sword Soul's been fun. It's
hmm
I won't say
I'm
that I
actually
was
looking.
wrong, but I'm definitely enjoying it more than I thought
We
I'm
should do
looking forward to, what do you call it? To see how Plunder Patrol is gonna do this
I would. Yeah,
format.
hmm
Thunder will be interesting. Jord, there was somebody that was playing in the Plunder Patrol group that was like, I played this for the Photon Hybernova pre-release and I got first and I never summoned Jord because I forgot I had it. I was like, okay,
That's
well,
funny.
that doesn't help Jordan. He's like, but if I had it, if I remembered I had it, I would have won even more. And I'm like, okay, whatever you
We
say.
should do now we can do a 2v2 between the four of us.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, we should.
Mel and I will play Sword Soul, and you guys play Full Under.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure that now that it's kind of fair because we don't
Yeah,
lose on normal summon against
yeah.
Barrier Statue.
We need our normal summon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
great.
I would. I'm so torn though about like buying Kashtira or not because I just don't want to spend a bunch of money on a deck that's either going to be subpar or uh killed on the list down the line. But we'll see how the prices go, man. We'll see how the prices go. That's
Mm.
really the determining factor. If like right now, there's so much right now it's like Halo 3 where there's so much hype around it coming out that it will
Hmm.
inevitably disappoint people. And after that, I will see what the prices are and then I'll consider it because I'm of like Kashtira Theosis is $89 right now. So,
Yep.
But I have.
I'm thinking like I'm gonna wait till after pre-release and then I'm gonna see what happens to the price. And I'm hoping that it's good but not as crazy as people think. And cards like Theosis go down to like 40 or 50 or 60, and it's like a little bit more reasonable. But right now, man, it's just a little too ridiculous. And I know I'm not the only person in the community who wants to play that deck, looks at the cost and goes, "Yeah, no, thank you," which is a problem, but that's a separate discussion for a
Yeah.
separate day. Yeah.
It's the
Feel
price
like
for a tier 1.
yeah, I think only buy it if you're planning on going to tournaments. If you're not going to go to tournaments, don't buy it
That's
because
true.
it does have a clock. It will get there. Like we can see the OCG. At the very least, Fenrir has a clock.
Yeah. Fenrir is
Fenrir,
way too
Yeah.
good on
he's
Halo.
way too good.
That's
He's not Pankratops, but he's about as close as you can get.
Yeah. I think Pank is a lot better, in my
I agree.
opinion.
Pank is a lot better,
Yeah.
We have
categorically.
Pankratops at home.
Yeah. Fenrir is Pankratops at home, George. You're
Well,
right.
I think
Pankratops.
I think Fenrir without the search is at home. However, I do think the card advantage does put him in like a very similar like utility.
Yeah, the
Because
fact
just
that he
having that
can,
one card in hand can be used for any for a discard or other things.
and he can
Follow
search
up.
himself. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Aside that, the
overall,
only
I'm just super excited, like about where the meta is gonna go. Because again, like this is like one of those times where one of those ban lists that just has you looking forward to what's coming up next, like what's gonna define the meta. Because again, to be honest, we haven't played Kashtira yet. I mean, not in a big tournament anyway, and yes, it's on paper it's supposed to be like, and I guess in OCG it's supposed to be like a phenomenal deck, but you know um I've said it before, the TCG and the OCG don't, they usually don't translate the same way. And it could be something that we might not even be talking about that's going to be like the next like I don't want to say tier 0 because I don't want to get it. I don't want to be in a tier 0 format anymore, but the
I don't
next
think
like
it will be.
tier,
Definitely
yeah,
not.
like the next tier 1 deck, like you know what I mean, like the top contender. It might it might be Cash, right? It might not be. It might be some like I don't know, 60 card pile deck. Not saying that that's what I want either, but just, it might be something we're not even talking about.
I
might be
mean, look
tier
at
again.
it might be
It might be
Dinos.
tier again.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing, Kashtira
Dinos
doesn't
makes
really Kashtira
Mhm.
doesn't really top in the OCG anymore. If you've
No,
looked,
I
it
mean
really doesn't.
they got a lot of hits. They've been
Yeah,
Yeah,
hit a lot too.
it's hard to run that deck as a pure deck
yeah.
at all. Fenrir and Unicorn are at one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean in the OCG? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
the thing for me is like I don't really go to tournaments that much, but that's not actually the thing that stops me because I buy cards to like play with you guys, and then if I happen to have time to go to a tournament, I enjoy myself and I go. That's actually not it. It's really just the number. Like the field spell is $92, and Kashtira Theosis is uh basically $90. So for 6 cards that you need in the deck, you're looking at $600, and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
the set is
that is
not even out
just
yet, really.
no, it's
yeah.
not. And I think it will go down because a lot of it is hype right now, but like
Of
it
course.
really is kind of crazy and it's like it's going to be it's either going to go down and it's not going to be as good as people think and it's reasonably priced or it's going to stay very high and Konami will find that a lot of pro players play it and everybody else doesn't really because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens, you know.
I mean, it almost reminds me of the hype Despia was having, and
Yeah.
then like everybody
Oh
played
yeah.
Despia for a month,
Very
and
much.
then
Yeah.
as
And then
soon
they
as
just
Aluber
stopped.
got a reprint, it was just accessible for everybody, and then nobody wanted to play
Yeah,
it.
people were like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're like 100% right, honestly.
yeah.
But you know, it's okay.
That's what
It's
it
okay.
was.
Because, you know, for me, if it's like if Kashtira ends up being like not a thing I really want to play and I get rid of the other stuff except for Fenrir, um, I don't know. I'll pick up something else. If I have the itch to build another deck, I might play Plunder Patrol. Although, oh, by the way, something else that we should potentially mention because it does top in the OCG sometimes. Exosister is a deck.
Oh,
Like
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Exos,
LOL.
like I don't know why. Why are you LOL? Like it's not super strong, but it is a deck, and it has like tops in the OCG,
So
like
are Black
very
Wings,
recently.
by the
Yeah,
way.
like they have tops in the OCG, and there's a non-zero chance that it could happen here, because it's strong if you could set up the board. It really isn't like it's not like bad. It's also just not. It's like it's a solid tier 2 option. I could see people potentially playing it.
Yeah.
My
I mean, you
tribe
have
boys might come
5
back too.
banishes. Who?
My tri brigade boys,
No,
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah.
they might.
No.
Well, they'll have to play without barrier statue, and that's fine. I think that they could maybe play. We'll see.
That's actually not the thing that I'm concerned them not playing without. It's actually Elf.
Yeah,
They'll survive. If they can't survive without elf, then they won't. Then
they
tough
cannot.
shit.
uh,
Shout
they
out
cannot.
Joseph.
Well,
I
that was the whole point of them. They could revive Kit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I do think that there is a non-zero chance. So to me, right, Exosister is a solid tier 2 deck, and Tri-Brigade is like also a rogue or solid tier 2 deck. I can see them being played. I think people sleep on Exosister a lot because they're like, you have to use the graveyard. But you know, guess what? Most decks use the graveyard. So if you're other than maybe the Kashtira matchup where you can't really do too much. Well, but actually that's not even true because if you go first and you keep them off enough bodies with banishment, they're gonna have a hard time. I mean, most hands with Kashtira, with all the support, can extend 3 or 4 times. So if you get 3 banishes, potentially 4 or 5, if you have some traps that are set, they're not going to play through that.
Yeah, which is easy to do in
It is easy
Executor.
to do. So I think that, your laughter, Mel, we'll see. I'll clap you up next time we play. We'll see who's laughing when I banish all your tokens. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just wait. Just it's not. I'm less laughing at EXO and more that the argument that a top means that it's okay when I'm looking at a list that has like Teller Knight, modern Teller Knight on it as
Yeah.
having a top, and like a list that has just barrier statue listed. I think one of the big things that I'm thinking about now, just like looking at it, is I don't think we can use the OCG as like a barometer as much anymore because they
No.
had like Elf alone is a card that it's like Hulk. It's like I would argue it's like Mystic Mind. It's a card that enables decks to do a lot better and thrive, and us banning it means that like sprite variants are no longer like viable for decks. And I know that
Right.
sprite Tri Brigade is one that people were labbing up.
It's kind of like
Uh,
the Dragoon, the
Yeah.
Feb ban Dragoon, and we had Dragoon.
right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we just had the tools for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's actually a lot of now that I'm thinking about it, because I was keeping up with it, because of this, right? There's actually a lot of really good things that could happen for a deck like Exo, because one of the problems was a lot of people felt compelled to run Bystials for obvious reasons, and then you had to run Wallow. You no longer really have to do that. And if you are going to play the tier matchup, the fact that they're so restricted, because if you think back, right, Exo had a pretty good run against tier before they got the Ishizu cards, and then it was just like so crazy that there was no chance for Exo to keep up. But now I think it's actually a pretty a favorable matchup, dare I say. But I don't know. I think I might go back to that deck. I actually enjoy it a lot, and I think there's a chance it could be quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about tournaments coming up. Which ones YCS Philadelphia just got announced. Like not just got announced. Got announced a couple weeks ago. We all are planning on, or at least some of us are planning on going to it. It is Mother's Day, so recognize that you might have to make a choice.
Pay homage to the mother.
Yeah,
Sorry, Mom.
My mama.
Mom. There are other days we should celebrate Mother's 365 days, not just one day.
That's a really convenient excuse you could use to go play a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Yeah.
It sure is. Feel free to borrow that. Make sure you tag me in that. Make sure I have the copyright for it.
Yeah, I think I got to see about Philadelphia. Probably not for me, to be honest.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I think I have to. I think it's
Yeah.
it's
When
time
is it
for
again?
the bird god
It
to fly.
is May 7th. May 13th. Sorry, May 13th.
I was gonna say May 7th isn't Mother's Day. That's not correct.
May 13th.
Yeah.
Look, you could also go and not do well because Mother's Day is day 2, and then maybe you don't do as well, you know?
Oh, I mean, it's a fair bet that I'm probably not going to do that great. So it's usually what happens.
No, what if you buy Cash and you
Well,
become
then I'll probably go. You know.
Yeah, all right.
It depends though.
We'll tell Mama Zanata he has to buy this. Don't ask why.
She'll be like, "What are you talking about? Like, what is any of this stuff?" And I'll be like, "I don't know."
Me and Nikki has to buy it.
Yeah, and then the other one, there's a Hartford one coming up on
Yes.
the 26th. That's a Sunday. Ew, that's so gross. Ugh.
Is that
Sunday
the one I
is
went
I
to?
learned my lesson about Hartford. So if we do go to Hartford and we stay with the night,
No cockroaches.
we're
Oh
staying
my
at a
fucking
we're
god.
staying at at the exact hotel where
Wait, did I
Victor-
did I stay at that hotel with you? Is that a free
No.
stay?
No.
No. Wait, what was the time? I went to Hartford with you once, didn't I?
Yeah.
No.
No.
The one where
No.
we went with our friend Mimi. Was
That
that
wasn't
That was
Hartford.
that was in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah,
That was
yeah.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, no, Hartford was pretty bad. I think we spoke about it on the pod before, but just to recap, we showed up and the motel that we stayed in was
George and I showed up.
yes, George and sorry, Mel and I, my twin brother.
It was just the two of you, right? If I recall.
Yeah. The
correctly?
first
Yeah.
night was just the two of us, and we showed up, and people were like, I think they bought like their furniture from inside the motel room outside, and they were like just drinking like Budweisers all night. It was
Oh
like
yeah.
it was like a
Yeah.
very like I don't know. It just wasn't. It was not a good place to stay. That should have like been red flag number one. And then the next day when we came after playing Yu-Gi-Oh, there was like roaches all over the place, like on the bed, on the floor,
Oh.
like it was fucking gross. And then yeah, never again.
Did
So
you get
like
a
needless
refund on
to say,
that?
like when we go, we're gonna stay in the exact same hotel where the convention center is if we happen to go to that place.
Yeah.
Did
You
you
know,
get a refund on
that's
that?
tough.
by the way?
Yes, I did.
Ah, nice.
That is tough. So Hartford is like I could potentially go, but like the fact that it's a Sunday, that's like really vile. So if I were to go, I would go and then I would drive there and then drive back home because
But
I
you know
have
what?
work on
If it's
Monday.
just one day, I mean, if it's just Sunday, then it's one day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
Regionals
would
are usually
think
Oh,
one
of
day.
doing the
regional, right?
same.
Oh, sorry, I don't know. I thought YCS.
No, yeah, it's just one day. I could yeah. The problem is that like I feel like you guys think I never want to go to tournaments. That's not true. I do. They're just always on the weekends, and my weekends are basically always busy.
When do you want them to be if they're not on a weekend?
Yeah,
I
like
just no,
you
it's not
can't
that.
do Mondays
I
or
just need
Fridays.
I just need my weekends to not be busy. But they always are.
That sounds
Like
like a personal
Don't get invited to
problem.
weddings.
Yeah. Too many
no,
weddings. Yeah.
no weddings this time. Although I think I might have one potentially in the summer.
Yeah,
But
of
that's
course
a
you do.
different story.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's I
I
do
think you
I
go
like
to as
playing.
many weddings as I have as money in my bank account.
Oh, yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I do want to go, but like I don't know. I had a lot more time last year. I don't really know what happened actually, but you know, it's fine. We'll see, I guess.
You should be able to make it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But that to our viewers or listeners, when you're thinking about building a deck, think like Nick is right now. Am I gonna go to tournaments and play this? Does it have a ban list target?
Yeah.
If the answer to both of if one of those is yes and one of those is no, and it's not the order you want it to be, consider maybe not buying the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, Fluanderies was the greatest investment ever. It was
There
fantastic.
was. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were like, I don't want this, and I was like, all right. But yeah, that's there's actually a bunch that you put on the calendar here
Mhm.
for regionals. There's a couple in March that I could probably go to also. Actually, that would potentially be a lot easier for me.
During my birthday, you better make it.
There's one in Reading, Pennsylvania, and
Wait,
the
which
other
one's
one
your
in
birthday?
March.
Okay. Well, okay.
The whole month.
the
Got
whole
it.
month. Oh
All
yeah.
right.
There's a
That's how birthdays work.
there's one in Providence on April. I mean, there's a couple that I could potentially go to.
Wait, Providence? Like
Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
what? That's my hometown.
Yeah, there's a
April
Providence one.
23rd.
There's one in Reading, Pennsylvania that I could potentially go to. The ones that are on Saturday are way, way better. I don't know why you'd
course.
host a regional on Sunday. That's ridiculous. But
Probably because of they have to fight for space.
yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean,
my-
also just like just a little bit of a back end thing for people. The other problem with me going to tournaments is that I got sick like 7 times this year, so I don't have any sick days left at work. So every time I take a sick day, if you're like just take off on Monday, I have a negative sick days right now, and
Wait,
I would
already?
like
It's
to
February.
yeah, dude, I got sick like 4 times in a row, and for each time I was out about a week. So you get like 1 sick day a month. The short version is I have negative sick days right now, and I would like to not have negative sick days anymore. So it is very difficult for me to take off at work. More
You'll make them up
difficult
by
than
the
it
end of the
normally is.
year. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying like normally I would just be like, oh, I'll just take off on Monday, but like I kind of like sort of can't. So it's a bit of a bind. Unfortunate, but that's just personal stuff, I guess.
Yeah. I
We'll
don't
figure
know.
it out.
I can't help you too much with that.
Give
Yeah.
me some sick days. No, it's
Yeah,
fine.
let me just throw them to you. I'm sure that'll work.
You know what's actually funny? People can donate you sick days.
Yeah, that's what you should ask for.
Well, be like, hey, my coworker at work, can you donate me a sick day so I could go play this Yu-Gi-Oh tournament? They'd be like, what? No. Come
You'd be
to
like,
work
I'll
on
split the
Monday."
prize with you.
I'm just saying, like, I
An
drove all the
OTS
way.
pack.
I drove to Niagara and then back the first week of school. So I don't want to hear that I'm not dedicated. I drove to Canada to go to a regional.
No one asked you to drive. That was
Yeah.
also a YCS.
You drove by yourself.
Yeah, actually, it was a really I had a
And you
really
had a
fun,
good
actually.
time, didn't you?
I did. It was great. I
Have
was
you
really
ever had a bad time at a regional or YCS?
That guy with the shorts. Yeah, that really ruined the day for me. No, I'm joking.
I rest my case.
No, they're always a blast. It's not that they're never not a blast. They're always a fun time. They're always a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you enjoy them. Well, I think that we're going to wrap it up here. We appreciate you all listening to us. Make sure you check out our social medias. Joseph, what are our social medias again?
Our social medias are
At
part of
Heart
the
of the Podcast
podcast.
on Instagram.
One more time. What was it? At heart of the podcast.
Yeah, at Heart of the Podcast on IG. We're also on
Facebook.
Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. I think all of them are at Heart of the Podcast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you
And
should
you
like
can
our
email
Follow,
us too.
comment, email us at heartofthepodcast@gmail.com.
like
we
our
always-
posts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're also gonna start like doing like reels and fun shit like that. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
If you have ideas or want to see us do some dumb shit, let us know.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you want to see us
there's
our friends to televisions, we can do that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got so much dumb shit I can do in a reel. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea the level of dumb shit that I'm willing to do.
Yeah, the level I'm capable of.
I can't with you all. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. This is Heart of the Podcast with MSTC. I'm Mel.
George.
Yeah, Joseph.
And I'm
Nick.
And we'll see you next time.